What's good, everybody out there in the Arsenal universe? It's your boy Dro the Gooner. Talking to you guys from Houston, Texas. And man, I just finished watching the Arsenal and Cardiff City game. Game finished 3-2. Goals from Mustafi, Lacazette, and Aubameyang. And I'm happy with the 3 points, but man, we still have a lot of work to do, man. A lot of work to do, especially at the back line. Me personally, I was hoping that we would have started Rob Holding in a game like this versus Cardiff City. Throw the guy out there, see what he can do. I think his athleticism and speed could have maybe prevented a couple of goals from happening, a couple of set pieces that led to goals. That Mustafi and Socrates partnership, man, I'm not a big fan of it. I personally believe that while Socrates provides you with heart and toughness, and Mustafi scored the goal today. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate the goal, but I just think their partnership doesn't work well together. You have one guy who really wants to step up all the time, and every time he steps up, how many times have we seen Mustafi actually cut off a pass? I haven't. I'm always seeing the guy get spun, beat, pushed, slipped, dipped, and somebody's in behind him. And I don't care what anybody says. I keep hearing this Socrates, oh, he's the third fastest player on the team, and no, the guy doesn't have game speed. There's a difference between flat out time test running, and then there's game speed, which is more based off athletic and mental quickness and decision making. And I don't think that guy has that game time speed, especially in the Premier League. It might work in the Bundesliga, it might work in other leagues, but in the Premier League, guys are going to put you on their hip, spin you, push you, and next thing you know, they're behind you. Another thing, the playing out of the back thing. I noticed in the Chelsea game that Czech is really uncomfortable playing with the ball at his feet, so you're starting to see him when he does collect the ball, he's starting to either roll it out or throw it out. Because I know that there was the goal chance where the Cardiff City player intercepted that pass. There were literally 2 more times before that when we tried to play out the back, and I was thinking to myself, a quicker center forward would have got onto that tap in the back of the goal. I don't think it's working. I think it's time to. This would have been a game to see Leno, but maybe to save him for that. For the Carabao Cup match, and in that game, I want to see a lot of experiment. I want to see Rob Holding. I want to see Leno. I want to see some other guys come in. I want to see El Nini come in just to get something different. Big point that you guys know how I feel about the situation. That's the Mesut Ozil situation. He was in the starting lineup. Did you notice him? I didn't notice him. I know he had that little link-up play where he passed the ball to Lacazette, and Lacazette flicked it on to Aubameyang for that goal. But other than that, I really didn't notice the guy. Granit Xhaka is he had a good game last week. He's like an up and down guy, man. Great game, horrible game like this past game. I think he discovered something in practice or training that he could like ping out a pass to the wings from his position as one of the holding midfielders. So he kept trying that in this game, and that led to interceptions. I wasn't really fond of that at all. And our fullbacks got forward. Like I said, that either the 2 holding midfielders have to drop back and sprint back hard to cover that area, or we need better center backs. I've been having this debate with a lot of people about our formation and the players we need that can fit the formation. And I will tell anybody, go back, and I know this is an extreme comparison, but go back and watch France during their World Cup run. They played a 4-2-3-1. Now, with Benjamin Pavard and Luis Hernandez, those guys were bumming forward, putting in crosses. Hell, Pavard even scored a goal. But the thing that really helped those guys out and kind of covered their butts was the fact you had N'Golo Kante. I know it's N'Golo Kante. And you had Paul Pogba sprinting back and filling in those positions. You can see the 2 defensive midfielders, especially Pogba, was just communicating with everybody. And that might be the base of the issue too, is our lack of communication within our team about, okay, what do you do when he goes here and the ball gets turned over here? Who's covering that area? Who's covering that man? What space are you covering? Because there was one time where I believe it might have been Bellerin got forward, and we lost possession, and the ball comes back, and you literally had Mustafi and Socrates sprinting to meet the Cardiff player on the wing. And I'm like, both our center backs are way over there. Like, where's our defensive midfielder. Whereas the right wing, which Mesut Ozil was on, if that was Mkhitaryan, maybe he would have trekked back. I'm not claiming Mkhitaryan is the best defensive winger in the world, but maybe he would have been more inclined to track back and cover that area. But I'm like, against any other team, if that was Liverpool, we saw against Man City, we saw against Chelsea, we would get shredded to pieces. I think that's the big thing we have to address in the January window. I don't know where we're going to get the funds from. That's why I'm a big fan of selling Mesut. I would have tried to sell Mesut Ozil in this transfer window. That way we can afford the funds to go out and get us a world-class center back. We're going to have to spend at least 30, 35 million euros to get a decent center back that can play in Unai Emery's system. And I think there were signs that the system is working. The Lacazette and Aubameyang partnership, that's something we have to keep using going forward. Those two guys have to be cemented in the starting 11. I really don't care who we play against. At least while our defense struggles, at least our offense can be our defense. You got to think about it in a boxing match. You might not be the best defender, but hell, if I can throw a punch and throw my punches quickly and accurately, I can make my opponent worry about my offense more than trying to attack me defensively. And I think we have to go with that partnership going forward. On the wing, Ozil, I'm not a... It's not the fact that I'm not a Mesut Ozil fan or that I don't like Mesut Ozil. I just, like I said, I just don't think the guy fits the system. And it's not a knock on him. It's not me being unappreciative of the guy. He just doesn't fit what we want to do currently. And on the wing, I probably would have went with Mkhitaryan on that. Guendouzi looked good in the first half. I know him and Xhaka both picked up cards, but I really like Guendouzi. Man, the guy could ping out a pass. There were when our center backs were under pressure and they needed to get rid of the ball, who did they find? Guendouzi sprinting fullback to meet those guys and receive the ball. The only thing is he's a little, I'm gonna use the term we say here in the States, we say light in the ass. He's a little light in the ass, basically meaning the guy, like he needs to put on weight. Like I don't know, the guy needs to sit down with like 82 bowls of oatmeal and protein powder, but that guy really needs to bulk up a little bit. He was replaced by Lucas Torreira. I like Lucas Torreira. He did a pretty good job to me. His pass led to the Lacazette goal. He split those that midfield and that defense to get that ball to Lacazette, and Lacazette had that center back. I believe it was Bamba, had the guy on his hip, spun him, goal, top of the net, beautiful. Little moments like that and the goals that we did score, to me, show that offensively we don't have an issue offensively. I think the fact that Aubameyang did finish his chance is a sign that moving forward we will become more lethal going forward and that guys will finish their chances. The question again is goalkeeping and center backs. Like we have to address that issue, and like I said, I would like to address that issue in January, but probably in realistic wise we won't. It will probably be in the summer. That's when your big transfer moves happen, and it might take a couple windows before we start weeding guys in and out, and before we start seeing those signs. I mean, you got to give it time. Look at Man City, look at Liverpool. You still had those hanger-ons from past regimes and a mixture of regimes, but eventually those guys weed themselves out, and the cream will always rises to the top. And we'll most definitely see that with this squad. We'll see the guys who will stick around, who will be here, who will be part of the future, be part of the building process, and you'll see guys that won't. I know there was the rumor about the Mesut Ozil and Unai Emery bust up, but he said that's one of the reasons was that Mesut Ozil had a cold of some sort, and the fact that Lacazette was out for that same reason, it might be some truth to it. It might be like a little bug or a little virus going around the Arsenal training center. I hope they rectify that before that comes back to bite us in the butt. You know, us and injuries and illnesses and sick. You know, anything like that. I was really impressed with the fan support. I heard a lot of guys out there singing songs. The guys must have traveled well out there to get to Cardiff City and watch the game. I don't think I have any more concerns or anything else negative to say. Not that I come on here to say negative things. I know a lot of my videos have been about I don't like this guy and I didn't like that. Like I said, going forward, we looks like with Aubameyang and Lacazette, that looks pretty silky, man. That looks pretty smooth. Like some special things that can happen. We just need the foundation and the steel behind those guys, man. We need to, in order for those guys to be as free-flowing and as fluid as they need to be, we really have to solidify that back line. And solidifying that back line actually might be the answer to the Mesut Ozil issue. I know you guys know how I feel. I'm an Ozil out guy, but maybe the guy could work if you had a solid back line behind him, so he didn't have to track back so much defensively. But other than that, I'm happy with the 3 points. We got the win. Getting ready to go into international break, and after that we have Newcastle. Newcastle is tough. Those guys are some tough little buggers, and we're going to have to toughen up a little bit. I thought that showed in today's game as well. You know, Cardiff City came up with the elbows, the pushing, the little clips, and we were trying to draw fouls versus just, hey man, let's get on with the game. You know, let's play. But like I said, man, I'm happy with the 3 points. I'm stoked. I'm glad to see the Emery system implementing itself and taking roots and growing and moving forward. I like how Emery talks to his assistant coaches after the game. After every match, he's talking to his assistant coaches. Hey, what did you see? What did you see? Okay, well, that didn't work. This didn't work. Or, hey, I told you that wouldn't work. And I think they're just experimenting, testing some things out. And before you know it, you know, this will be in the past. And I can honestly say after today's game, I've been debating with Arsenal fans on social media, YouTube and Instagram. We're not a top 4 side. We are not the 4th best team in the Premier League. We're not better than Tottenham. I know it hurts to say that because I fucking hate Tottenham. We're not better than Tottenham. We're not better than Manchester City. We are not better than Liverpool. And we got beat by Chelsea, and we're not better than Chelsea. And to me, that's my top 4. That's how it's going to finish at the end of the season. City 1, Liverpool 2, 3 Tottenham, 4 Chelsea. That's why I'm really emphasizing that, and I hope that the coaching staff and Emery focus on the Europa League. That's our way back into the Champions League, is going as deep as far and really winning the Europa League to get back into the Champions League. And appreciate your time, guys. Shout out to everybody out there doing a thing all around the world. Please respond with comments, likes, shares, feedback, anything you guys, any suggestions, any ideas. I'm more than willing to debate any topic with you guys. Have a good one.